Hello, animators. Had a couple of crashes in the class demos, and I'm embarrassed because they're such an easy solution that I didn't really consider at the time. I have before, but anyway. So on when you open, you know that anytime we're opening these files, they all share the same name. And I think where it gets most confusing is when you've got a few files in, you're not sure which ones to delete. Also in the character rig, or pardon me, in the human IK section. So let's. What I'm going to do is say none, and I would definitely recommend going to none before you do anything. So what I'm going to do now, let's just take the skeleton group. And let's go to rename it, and I will call this IK. And how about lowercase group? Okay. Same thing here. Let's go for IK and the geometry group. IK. All right, so now we know that these elements are going to be named IK. Let's go to the skeleton itself. Let's select the hierarchy. And how about if we do the same thing? Let's do modify. I guess we'll put a prefix here. Let's call this IKRig, just so there's no confusion. So these bones are IKRig. This is all IK. Now let's go into the character here. Let's rename the character as well. And again, do this stuff before you do this, and make sure this is set to none before you mess with this over here in the human IK window. So character rig, this is already done for you with the file on the home page. Let's go to rename, and let's call it IK rig. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just save this out. So save scene as, and this is the one that's on the home page here. And I'm just going to rename this to IKRig. I've already done it once, but let's just save it again. Save as. Okay, so now if I were to import another file that has some work on it, I think it's going to work a lot easier. So for instance, let's import, and we'll go to rigs, and we're going to grab the UE4man FK import. But we still have the same nonsense with the namespaces. And if we go to none and then come over here, we can also see that the namespace is also passed over to the characterization. We don't want that. So again, I would say none here. So what I've shown you before is go to Windows, General Editors, Namespace Editor, and I've encouraged you just to make sure you select the namespace, delete it. Now this is the namespace for the FK rig, so we can delete it, merge with the root, and all's good. If we come over here, then that automatically bounces in, and so we're good. And then when we look at this, IKRig, so we don't have any confusion. Now, if we were to load in another, and then we also don't have the confusion here as to which one is the FK and IK. So, the next step with this would be, let's do a new scene. File, open scene. Let's grab my new rig here, open. Let's go to the channel box. Now we've got these layers, all right? So let's make sure the layers are named correctly too. Unless you don't need them. If you don't need them, it wouldn't be a bad idea to delete those, but let's just right click, or sorry, just double click. I'm gonna just call this CTL for control. Now I put a underscore at the end of my layer names so they don't clash with anything else. I think I'll put a red color in this, save. Let's do the same here. Control, or how about I don't know, scale underscore IK underscore. How about IK rig? Just so there's no confusion. Save, and this is for the UE4 man. We'll say the same thing again. IK rig underscore. I guess we can make this kind of that orange color. Save. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is save this again. Save scene as UE4 IK rig. Save as. Okay, so this way, if I bring this file in, and once these start to stack up, and I want to know what's what, it'll be easy to get rid of these because really the names have been the hardest problem. Okay, now yet another more clever solution. So if we go to File, Import, let's go to the option box. So namespaces are set by default in Maya. I'm going to turn namespaces off. Now, if you're just loading IK, FK, or mocap data, we shouldn't have a problem with any clashing names. So, instead of namespaces, let's turn this off. So we're going to resolve clashing nodes with the same names, with this string, and I'm just going to call it, how about Z. So anything that comes in that's named the wrong thing, it's going to have that string. Save and close. Yeah, make this whatever you want. Okay, so now let's File, Import. Let's import the FK man. Import. Okay, so now we've got the skeleton and the man, and we know this is for this FK skeleton and man. And now we don't have to mess around with the namespaces. That's probably the easier way to work. Of course, we can come down here now and make that the character. So it's all good. I can also import clips because the clips are looking for this skeleton. And I can have this one in, and so the skeleton has got a different name. So let's import a clip. We'll go to the time editor, File, Import Animation Clip, and I'm going to go to one of the clips we saved in class. Let's go to the how about the dance Ken? well, we'll do the, it doesn't matter. Let's just do this. Open. Okay, so this clip automatically attached itself to the FK geometry and skeleton group. So we could come in knowing what the names are now, and for this IK stuff, just hide it. And this, the IK is the only one with control. So now we just see the move here. Okay, and then so then if we want to well, I think we could either transfer this to the IKFK rig with the clip, or if we sent it into the scene. Let's try with the clip. So let's go back to human IK. Let's go ahead and show this now. Let's go to human IK. So the character is going to be the IK custom rig, and the source is going to be UEF4. Yep, and that's working. You can do it with the clip off or on. Now this will be helpful because I can show you again how to fix certain items. So let's go ahead and bake this out. So we're going to bake, and we're going to bake to the custom rig. Let's make sure that we are just using, we're only baking the amount of the actual animation. So bake to custom rig. There we go. So this is now on the custom rig. So we no longer need this clip, but this was for the, well, let's just double check. So make sure we select the curves. Okay, so here are all the animation curves for the animation on the control rig. So we should be confident that we can come here to the FK skeleton, FK geometry, well, maybe not so confident. Good grief. Okay, I think what happened is, oh, it's not on. There we go. Okay, we're good. All right, so one thing to understand though about Maya, it leaves residue, okay? The residue is not good. So I still have the skeleton, so let's delete that. Delete layer. And I still have the man. Delete layer. So we only have the stuff that we're working with in our scene. This is also the same over here in the human IK settings. So if let's turn this to none. And then if we click on this, we can see that the UE4FK is still here. So we don't want that. So we can turn that on, go here to the definition. Now it's not green because it's not finding the skeleton anymore, but nevertheless it's still here and it's adding to confusion. So let's delete it. This is from the FK rig. Okay, so now if we come down here, we've just got one IK definition, we've got one file, and we've only got the controls, skeleton, and mannequin that we need. Now we still have the problem, just like I demonstrated in class, that these pole vectors didn't rotate with the character, so the legs are looking a little goofy. And what I showed was, so this is Z here, so going to translate Z for this selected one, I can select the curve or just the curve. Let's do that again. Control, Shift, right mouse button, just the curve. Or I could select all the keys on the curve. I prefer to do this. So if I wanted to move this that way, Shift, middle mouse button, and I can move the entire curve that way, and then I could come into the Translate X. Let's do the same, grab the curve. And this is just kind of moving it around. Shift middle mouse button, so I want to bring it this way. And so now I've fixed that leg. Now I'm going to see if I can put a locator on this to fix this a little more easily. That would work better in the time editor. Now this was the dance from the previous file that I had in. Yet again, Maya leaves residue, so let's delete it because it had nothing to do with this. But there's something I want to try here. So I'm going to take, again, just the curves. Now, again, when you make a clip, it's just whatever the selection is. So I'm going to take the selection of just the curves. We're here in the time editor. Let's say File, Add from Scene Selection. Okay, great. Now I'm just wondering if I select this, if I can put a locator on it. Let's select it. Let's add a relocator. Okay, now that moves the entire clip. So let's undo this. Control Z. Okay, this time what I'm going to do is just select only the pole vector. And let's see if I can make a clip out of that. So add animation from scene selection. Okay, and let's select this. Let's add a relocator. Okay, and so yeah, okay, this is cool. Oh, this is awesome. So now I can fix the pole vectors the way I want. So really handy, the clip editor. Okay, and so then I can select it, bake to scene and delete. That bakes that control back to the scene and deletes the clip. You can also do it right here. Make sure that's selected. Bake to scene and delete. Okay, so just making a clip on this made it a whole lot easier than moving this by individually grabbing the curves. So moving the single pole vector moved this down. I don't think it's going to work if I were to select the hips or anything. So it still is handy to know this trick here. We're in the graph editor. We just want this down in Y. Okay, so let's grab Translate Y. Let's grab, whoops, grab the whole curve or all the keys, whatever floats your boat. Okay, And so now shift, middle mouse. And so I'm moving that down just to give a little bit of room for the leg to come down. I'll do the same thing here on the leg, translate Y only. Shift, middle mouse button, just pull the entire curve down. And so now I'm a little more centered on the ground. Okay. Right, so now let's play it. Oh, that's interesting. Now this kind of comes up like that. No problem. We're going to fix it. So first of all, I'm going to show viewport. I'm going to say none. Show viewport. Let's turn on just polygon on curves. Okay. Oh, I need to show subdivision surfaces, show rigging animation plugins, viewport, lighting cameras, curves and surfaces. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now let's get into some editing. Oh, you know what? By making this a certain color, that kind of overrides my controls. So let's turn the color off, save. So now I get back my colors that I wanted. Also notice I made a relocator earlier and it stays behind. So just residue you want to get rid of. Okay, so selecting all the curves. Now what we want to do is simplify everything. So we're going to go to curves. We're going to simplify the curves. Okay, so now we got fewer curves to deal with, and the motion is pretty much the same. Okay, and then I'm going to show the foot planting thing again. Okay, so let's start with this foot. Okay, so I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. Move it down just a hair, and maybe move it over just a hair. Okay, so that's my pose. So if you notice, with the left mouse button, if I scrub, everything moves. If I use the middle mouse button and I scrub, nothing moves. So this is a really easy way to copy a key from one frame to the next. So middle mouse drag, I'm going to just go up here to 20 and then S to key the frame. And so if I expand this out, we can see that this curve is the same as that. Let's get rid of all this junk in between. That's the beauty of mocap. You can blow stuff away and still, things will still work. Okay. Now, let's do the same thing over here. Middle mouse drag over to the last frame, 157. S to key it again. And we can get rid of a couple of these. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is just go to all the translates, and I'm going to delete. Actually, no, I'm not going to delete them all. I think what I'm going to do is just slow them down or kind of smooth them out. So this is a fun trick. Well, let's select all these. And then I'm going to go to curves, and I'm going to go to, let's go to the smooth filter. I may have needed to select just the curves themselves. Tell you what, let's go from this to that, just to be sure. Select the curves. So I still want to keep some motion, but not as much as what's going on there. So we're going to go to curves, smooth filter, Butterworth. I'm going to click the options. Now what I want to do before I run this, I'm going to click on preview. Make this a little bigger so we can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm in preview mode, and so what I can do is change the frequency of the curves. So I can really kind of, bring the frequency down, and I can also change the sampling rate so that I've got a lot fewer to work with, to worry about, simplify it. And that's just preview. And we'll see how it looks. Okay, so a little bit of motion, but not too much. Apply and close. Now if I come back here, there is kind of a dramatic difference between here and there. So yet again, curve tricks. Let's get translate X. So you can see here the foot is kind of going out, and then it slides back. Curves, let's see, peak removal filter. Preview. If that's doing me any good. Here's what I could do. Let's hit R for scale. I'm going to set my pivot point about right here, middle mouse button, and I can sort of scale these up. So that movement's going to be much less noticeable. I can then take these and then go to W, middle mouse drag, and pull these down so we're still in the same ballpark. Still a little bit of motion there. Okay. So I can just come in here and blow keys away. We can take these. Maybe make these not as noticeable, but just have a little bit of noise. Let's delete this one and pull this one down. Delete that one. Okay. There, so not as much motion. Now that was just on X. Don't be afraid to blow stuff away. Make it easier on you. Now the feet, the rotation's still going a little wild. And so let's look at that. So I'm just going to grab just the rotation keys. And again, let's come into, let's just grab all the curves. And I'm going to come back to the smooth Butterworth. Click on preview. Let's just kind of tone that down a little bit. And then, do we want to edit a ton of curves, or do we want to edit just a few curves? I vote for just a few. Apply and close. Now, here's something else where we see these curves kind of like flip-flopping over each other. One other thing you can try. Curves, Euler filter. That didn't do anything. It helps when you get gimbal lock or when things flip, but I think this is okay. Now, there still is a little bit of motion, so I think what it's doing, yeah, it's moving back in Z. Actually, it was moving back in X, and I already tweaked that. Let's grab these. Go to the Butterworth filter again, preview. Really simplify that. Apply and close. And then so I've got a moving, kind of moving one way and then the other, so I can just grab these. I want to keep these the same because I want the positions to match up in the middle. Let's just pull these down. Maybe get rid of the extremes. Okay. So I'm keeping just a little bit of noise, not a ton. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So the foot isn't entirely locked. Or we could just do it the simple way. All right, so say if we're here at frame 0, and let's just say we want to pull this down, and we want to rotate it up a little bit so there is a little better contact on the floor. The foot's just a little angled. Make sure auto key is on. Okay, I like that. So that's going to be my key. And then I could middle mouse drag all the way here. S to key it. Then I could blow away everything in the middle. And let's just zoom in for these. Okay. So then it's going to stay locked, but there is a little bit of IK pull with the hips that pulls it up, and it's making it a little goofy. So I guess what we could do is just grab the hips, translate Y, select the curve, and middle mouse button, and shift. Let's just pull it down a little bit so there's not as much as much of that. Okay, so we can lock it down entirely so it's not moving, or we can do those tweaks that I did before, and I think that looks a little more realistic. Now, also in the demo, what we did is I took this foot and I wanted to have a bit of a, okay, I still got to do some tweaking there, but wanted to be able to just take the foot and move it. If we hit F to show all keys, or let's go on translate. Okay, so key everything there. Key everything there, and then here I'm going to lift the foot up. Let's go to maybe 10. Lift the foot up. Maybe pull it down a little bit. Okay, so that was there. Then here we'll set it down. Rotate it back up a little bit, and then maybe this time just rotate it over a little. Yeah, let's pull it this way a little bit more. Okay, so we're just doing an easy footstep, and we could do the same thing back here. So here's this footstep. Let's keep that middle mouse button, put it there, key with S, and then here it's just going to slide back, so let's just lift it up. Okay, so that's editing feet. We'll just play these again. The foot's a little slow. So what I could do is just maybe bring it up a little more slowly, but it goes down a little more quickly. And I could maybe move this one over a little bit using the shift middle mouse button. And we could do the same thing here. This motion's happened just a little too slowly. And then for the putting it down, make that a little faster. It could still be a little bit faster, but you get the idea. Okay. So in this video we covered quite a few things. Still a little bit more to cover. So let's get into animation layers. So let's go to Anim. And so we're going to grab just the hips for this, the main hip mover, and that's selected, so we're going to create layer from selected. So what happens is that makes a base animation layer, and then there's an animation layer on top of that for just this. Okay, so I'm going to hit W. go to that layer. So what I want to do at this frame is I want to create a 0 key. So I'm going to weight it at 100%. So click on that at this frame, 0. So I guess I'm going to have to hit S. Well, if we click on the animation layer, then it'll do that. Okay. Well, let's come over here and make another 0 key so that it matches the beginning and the end. Okay, so here are my keys. Now, we want to have a little bit of fun with this, so auto key is on, so let's get a little groovy here. Go down. So it retains all the animation it had. It just allows you to animate in layers over the top. Let's maybe come over this way a little bit. And then here come up a little bit. Maybe come back this way. Keep going that way. Down, and then we're back where we were. Let's make this a little more exaggerated. A little more exaggerated there. A little bit more there. Down even more, and then back. Okay, this foot is still moving a little too slow, so let's come back here, and we can just tighten this up by, we could just, we could do a, one of these. Oh, we want to do this in the base animation. So grab this, do a Retime Tool, so click on it just there so this remains locked, and then we can select this, and let's just scale that so it happens quicker. Q to get out of it, or just click here. Let's do the same thing over here with the Retime Tool. So we don't want to mess with this last frame, so we'll put an anchor for it. Let's do another one here. And just scale that up a little bit. And Q to ease off. Okay. Yeah, so we can do a lot of different things there. You can do it on all the body parts. How about if we have the head kind of going up and down a little bit? Okay, that's fine. And we could do this to other body parts. So I think with this, translate Y, that's coming up a little bit too much. So how about if we grab these? We can go to curves. Let's just do this filter thing, preview, and we're just going to, yeah, I mean, that works. We can still keep the frequency there, but let's turn the sampling rate down. Apply and close. Let's take these and move them down. Let's take this one and kill it. Kill that. So we're keeping some noise, but not all of it. Let's play it now. Okay. And we are getting a little bit of pull here, so let's come back to the anim layer. Pulls here just a little bit. Okay, so then we've had a lot of fun with our dance there. So now what we got to do? Let's just bake it all down. This would be a good time to save. Save scene as. So I would save this in my just IK work. We'll call this dance groove. I think today's the 14th. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I've got this saved. I can always come back to it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it back to the FK character. So, now if we look at the base animation, we've got this. The animation layer, we just have that. That's just on this guy here. We could do it on other parts. What I'm going to do is select both of them. And if you right click, you can go to merge layers, but make sure you go to the option box. And you want to do Smart Bake. So Smart Bake will keep just the minimal keys, otherwise it would bake every single keyframe again. So let's merge. Okay, so now we still have just our minimal keys. Let's save that again. Save scene as 14. .2, save as. And so now we're going to turn it into a clip and bring in, we're going to bring in the FK character and turn this into a clip. So let's go to Human IK. Make sure this is on none. So let's file import. And remember that I take off namespaces, and if I've got a clashing node that has the same names, put this string on it. Okay, so let's import UE format, import. There it is. Now let's take character and say none. Okay. Now, I think this is, now in the past, I had errors, or in class I had a few errors. I think a lot of it had to do with having things loaded up here. So just make sure you're on none. Then let's take the UE4, put that as the character, and click on the definition. It looks good. And so now we'll grab the source, which is the IKRig. And so here it says IKRig. And there we go. Okay. And somehow I've got, let's set this at 0. And this goes to 289. Or no, it goes to 157. Grab the keys. Yeah, 157. Make sure you put that in before you bake, and then it's just going to work out a little better. Okay, so UE4 FK guy is being driven by the IKRig. That all looks good. All right, and so now we're going to bake. And we're going to bake to the skeleton. Now the control rig is something entirely different that I can maybe show a demo of how that works later. It might be something you might prefer to use. I like the flexibility of using it on a custom rig. So a control rig is not the custom rig, so we're not even messing with this. We're just going to bake to the skeleton on the UE4 character. Shapes, let's see if there's a smart bake. Let's try that. It might just keep just the minimal keys. Let's try that. Actually, no, I've tried it before. It didn't work out so well. Let's keep smart bake off. Just click bake. Okay. So we now have the motion on the UE4 man and the scale. Let's turn off the controls. Let's turn off the scale rig and the man IKRig. Oh, and so it looks like we probably need to adjust the hands because by bringing the character up and down like that, I'd have to tweak those. We could do that later. Just wash, rinse, and repeat. So just fix that before you bake it out. Okay, so now this is on the FK man. What do we do again? We go to the time editor, grab the everything here. Add animation from scene selection. Okay, rename the clip. It's going to be called Dance 14. I'll put .2. Okay. Export clips or export selected. Export, we're going to put it in our clips directory. No, I'm just going to select that and then come here. .2.fbx export. So now we've got a clip exported. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new scene. Don't save. Let's get rid of everything because Maya hangs on to a lot of garbage. File, open scene, rigs, FK man. Now this is how you're going to wind up delivering the character. At this point we'll think of Maya as like a game engine we've got a skeletal mesh, and we're going to add animations. Our animations are coming in as clips. File, import animation clips. Dance 14, open. There we go. And then the clips will just stack up when you string them together. One other thing I'd like to show you, and that is retime. I forgot to show you that. Let's go and create and edit a time warp. Okay, so this is the time throughout the animation. So let's say if we wanted to speed up part of it. Like, for instance, this part here. Right-click, insert key, or we could use this. Whatever floats your boat. So I want this to happen faster. So this is the speed over the course of the animation here. So let's just speed this up. W. Just maybe put it over here a little bit. So, okay, so that sped all this up, and now this is going kind of normal. So if you want to speed this up a little bit too, we could do that. And this one we could maybe slow down a little. And then speed it up here. Okay, so let's play that back. Yeah, so you can see here it's slowing down quite a bit. We could also just take these keys, move them over. Just to speed up the whole thing. Okay, and if we like that, come back to the time editor. And if we like it, that's cool. Now, since we did take that curve and sped up the whole thing, so and go to the last frame, and let's just double click on this again. Go back to the graph editor. Frame 131 is the last frame. Time editor, let's go to here and let's just slice that off. So we've got a new clip now, so we can click on this. And so this keeps the retime element in, so you can always go back and edit it. I like to just do this, right click, bake to new clip and delete. Now the time editor's gone. I could rename the clip. Let's call it Dance 14.3 or whatever works. Right click, export selected, export, go to clips. .3. export. So in the end, you just have this guy loaded, and then you just string your clips in and make sure they all fit. So, yeah, that's what you can do with editing data. There's other stuff we can do here as well, where we can, let's see. I'm not going to get into this stuff because there's other things you can do with grabbing elements and working here in the clip editor, but I think it's easier to do it in the graph editor, and I don't want to overwhelm you with even more stuff, so I'll just leave that as is. I hope this has been helpful. Key takeaways: rename everything, keep the scene clean, make sure that when you're loading stuff in and out, that I would make sure that that's set to none. Be very careful about the order where you add things, because it can go south. So I think that's about it. Have yourselves a great day.